Welcome to episode 316 of the Red Dirt Agronomy Podcast. I am Dave Deacon, and we have a really fun episode for you. Today, we get caught up on summer crop progress across Oklahoma and projects that the doctors are doing in the world of ag research across our great state. Before we do that, go ahead and knock that subscribe button like a blocked punt where you get your podcasts. And remember, you can find the information that we talk about on this episode and past episodes on our website, reddirtagronomy.com. Let's kick things off with an introduction to the dream team of dirt and everything that grows from it. Let's start with Oklahoma State University Extension Precision Nutrient Management Specialist.
Well, I wasn't old enough to be really remembering how cold it was. Hell, I don't remember last week, Dave.
Dr. Brian Arnall. And across from him is Oklahoma State University Extension Cropping System Specialist.
We got another two going through. Brian, they probably went through your lab. It's okay.
Dr. Josh Lofton. Now that we have all the formalities out of the way, we'll dive into this episode with an update on summer crops across the Southern Great Plains. You are listening to the Red Dirt Agronomy Podcast.
Kick the tires like the fires.
Just don't light the tires.
So on top of what you just said,
that lighting tires on fire isn't a good thing?
Yeah, I actually, a couple of weeks ago, I was up in Kansas talking with the wheat folks up there, and we got to talking about soybean harvest up there, and some of the elevators shut down because it was so dry because there were so many fields on fire, and so they just quit taking soybeans so that way they would not encourage the farmers to keep out there in the field.
The interesting thing is I saw a tweet up in the Midwest that their soybeans at 8.5 moisture, they got them rejected.
Yep. Really?
From the co-op. The co-op's not taking them at 8.5% moisture.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know what you do with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes back to what's happening right now. Is that we were talking this morning is that we should be coming out of full season of harvest, having a little bit of layoff, and then dropping into double crop here at 2 to 3 weeks, start really ramping up double crop. And yet we're still trying to finish up some full season and getting calls that double crop's rolling in Miami for a week now.
Really?
And so, Greg, Leonard started cutting last week. Rendell started cutting this week. Anderson's expected to cut next week.
If it doesn't rain in the next 10 days, every summer crop will probably be out of the field in 10 days in the state.
Oh my gosh.
Cotton's done.
Yeah.
Double crop soybeans done. Double crop sorghum's done. Everything. Our double crop corn is basically done. I've never harvested double crop corn before Thanksgiving.
No, and we can easily start shelling in Stillwater in our double crop, Stillwater Perkins. I'm thinking 2 weeks minimum.
Yeah.
So here we are. That's what I was looking at, the middle of October. And
by Halloween, everything will be out.
Yeah.
Everything will be out.
Which leaves a bunch of open ground for grain-only wheat.
Yeah. If it rains.
But if it doesn't rain, we'll be fallow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying we'll be fallow, but we'll be empty ground when potentially this wind starts picking up here pretty soon.
So here's a question that we got to ask, and I think that OSU Extension's kind of got to get on the front ball of this. At what point do we not put winter wheat in the ground for grazing and we just hold off for spring oats?
No.
That's what I thought. If you were planning to graze and it's not in, not up, you pull back and you wait till Valentine's Day and start dropping in your spring oats, right?
Well, and I mean I would say maybe the end of the month, because if we stay open throughout the fall,
we're supposed to freeze next week.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, huh?
No way.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We're talking the first freeze northern tier counties next week.
Holy cow.
Why are we so much warmer then?
What's going on with the weather?
We don't get out of we don't get below the 50s.
Still, I mean, well, here in
there's
in
no
Stillwater,
way it's going to be 20 degrees colder
I'm not
on the state line.
Panhandle could be. I mean, Panhandle,
but
Northwest Oklahoma.
The Panhandle should have frosted like 3 weeks ago.
Should have. Yeah.
I'm not saying that forecast held. I'm just saying.
But
there was chatter
it's on the way.
If we have an open fall, and I've seen a couple of models that we don't have our first major freeze until Thanksgiving. I still think we have enough forage potential there, especially if we actually get some rain. But we're walking a thin line of going, we just need to go to oats.
One of the models was already saying, though, that we're looking at a really weak Arctic.
Yeah.
Was it Arctic? Not Arctic last, but the Arctic cap basically is a very weak, and it's reminiscent. The last time it's this week was 1982 going into 83, and when it's that weak, what it means is a bunch of Arctic air dropping down, and we could be set up for one of the coldest winters since 82. And 82, I wasn't alive, but I still hear stories from farmers and ranchers about that 82, 83 winter, on how cold and how much stuff froze up.
Whoa. Hit pause for a second. What year were you born?
80.
Oh, okay.
I was alive, but not in memories.
Okay. I was thinking, man, you were okay.
Well, I wasn't old enough to be really remembering how cold it was.
I
don't remember last week.
You weren't sitting around going.
That's the scary thing from a forage perspective. If we're super cold and we stay on this very dry trend, I mean, heck, even if we still get an inch of rain or 2 inches of rain between now and Thanksgiving, we're dry.
We're dry.
And so if we stay dry and have very little snowpack and not a lot of ice and we're that cold, you might as well wait until February.
I mean, you got like you said, you got to try it. If we get a rain forecast in the next week or two, just see if you get it up, and maybe we stay open. Because I mean, we're talking about forecast 2-3 month forecast. How much do we trust the 3-day?
Exactly.
But we even had rain chances in the forecast next weekend.
Yeah,
and they're already gone. So like they're starting to come in, and I thought it was amazing because that little rain that came through yesterday, it's like the first clouds I've seen in the sky in like 2 months. Well, I'm like, dude, I forgot we could get clouds in this state.
What is cloud cover?
It's funny. We were out watching the Northern Lights out at the farm, and I just happened to look to the south, and I saw a flash, and I was like, oh my gosh! And I said to Crystal, I said, did you see that? And she goes, no, what? And I said, oh, yeah, okay. Lightning. I forgot lightning.
I actually would have
have
thought it was a power flash from somebody hitting a telephone pole.
That's what I was thinking, but you could see, down by
I took the kid to gymnastics, and the clouds were off in the east, and I'm like, this is the first time I've seen like more than just wispy white clouds, like storm clouds, in like 2 months.
Right.
And I'm like, we don't even get clouds anymore.
Yeah.
A lot of comments. Panhandle's wetter than Oklahoma, but our two dry spots really are effectively Stillwater and Miami.
Yeah.
That is the two red. There's wheat that's been
that
dropped
little
in.
like you go that like that I-44 corridor all down through Altus and then up through Stillwater and like curves up into a little part of Kansas and then back down into Miami. It's just dry. Like I don't wish a hurricane, but that one that's in the Gulf, it needs to hit Houston and come up through here. I mean, it would be a game changer at this point.
So we have had in Stillwater, according to the Mesonet, 56 consecutive days with less than a quarter inch of rain. Let's see, that would be Altus Lugert. Well, I guess that'd be Altus, 18 days. But here Red Rocks had 60 days as of this recording.
The one thing that the new Mesonet person comes in, I want to see is that same maps on a half inch.
Oh, yeah.
Because a tenth and a quarter inch are nothing.
Right.
I think a quarter and a half inch and maybe like a quarter, half, and an inch is a better map because a third of an inch dropping right now is nothing.
Yeah.
It'll dry up before the afternoon.
Right.
Especially with it being 97 degrees tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah.
And I was in Oklahoma City yesterday, and I saw that storm that hit, and it sprinkled on me, and I was like, what is this?
Sprinkled.
But when I got out of the doctor's office, I was looking to the north. It was up near Guthrie, and it was pouring about 1,000 feet up.
Oh, the Virga. Yeah.
And then once it gets to 1,000 feet, just
evaporates.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's pouring up there.
Yeah.
So like the upper atmosphere is suitable. That lower atmosphere is not accepting rain right now.
Right.
It's just too dry and it's too hot.
Sorry, we're not accepting rain right now.
We're not accepting any rain.
Yes,
you are rejected.
We do have an opening in November.
That's a positive because we do see the upper atmosphere is conducive to rain now.
Right. Yeah.
Because, I mean, for a long time when we had that heat dome cap, it was I didn't even think you could probably go into outer space before it was acceptable for rain. You might be on the freaking moon above Oklahoma before it's rain acceptable. But.
So let me ask you guys this: what are some options for say we do get a little bit of rain, a few inches between now and December? What are some options to A, hold the soil together, and B, make something worthwhile on there?
Well, I mean, we've got the new wheat varieties that do really good with late sowing, and we're planting those up almost into Christmas. So
really,
no, we're not getting a bunch of biomass. We're not really like producing a bunch. So I'm not planting December 10th expecting to have 3 tons of forage by January 20th.
Right.
But getting that plant out there, getting it up. And it is coming through harvest. I mean, again, it's not going to be 110 bushel, but it's producing bushels in the end with a little bit earlier harvest date. So that's one of the things. I think it's Butler's Gold is the one that's that can be late sown. And, you know, we did some stuff in Miami with Brent. Silva did stuff in Miami with Brent and Zach Rendell. And their planting dates, November, basically their Thanksgiving, was just fine. In fact, the best date they had.
Wow.
And December wasn't horrible, wasn't bad. And so they had in October and November and December. November was the best.
Yeah.
December, and that was with Butler's Gold and one of the more traditional lines. Both of them like that November. Grain only doesn't have to be in the ground.
Yeah. We haven't even begun to shut the door on grain only.
Okay.
No. I mean, we are still wide open on grain only wheat. The problem is how much forage we're going to be able to
pull off
between now and mid to late February if it hasn't started coming yet.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you just drive around. Again, we're doing this here in Stillwater. You just drive around Stillwater, and what would have been lush forage last year at this time, it's barely coming out of the ground.
Well, and this is something that, you know, I kind of talked to Laura about, even when we look at some of our native pastures and our pastures, is that it looks like it's December out there.
That's what I was going to say.
If the trees weren't green still, you would think it's the middle of January.
Yeah.
The only thing that's still green and still coming up are the bad things.
Or the weeds.
Things like Johnson grass, things that you probably don't want your cattle consuming a whole lot of at this point in time. So it's a tricky part. Our crop ground's still got a lot of open time. I mean, there's a lot of open time. If you want to do a small grain, wheat has an abundance of time.
Yeah.
We got the flexibility with the late planted, but even just traditional wheat varieties. We've just started getting into the window that Brian even thinks about planting wheat.
I don't start until really October 10th.
But we have Camelina that has looked to be somewhat successful. The market's still a big question. The companies that are doing it, I mean, we're not familiar with them, so we don't know how a large amount of acres, but I mean, we've kind of missed the boat on canola unless you've kind of had it, because yesterday, so the 10th was the last insurance date for it.
Yeah.
Theoretically, we can probably still make canola work if we get a rain between now and the end of the month, if we have an open fall, but it's a high risk.
Yeah.
Camelina, we usually don't start planting until November, December. We planted as late as March last year and got a decent, not great, but enough to kind of put it in the neutral zone and just say we did something. But kind of what Brian was saying is we talk a lot about plan Bs of like, okay, so our plan A was to get a good forage wheat and have great forage heading into the winter and maybe do either a graze out, a hay out, or a grain. We're maybe past that on our forage systems. Right. So our plan B now is our spring oats. And there's still, I mean, we have a lot of time to determine those spring oats, you know, because we normally plant it about the middle of February on it through March. And it's pretty good. Gives us a good amount of hay, usually probably not as much as you would get from a full, you know, from the 1st of September on wheat, but it allows us to put a lot of hay up in case we carry these dry conditions through next summer and we don't have a lot of summer pastures. So,
which is interesting on some decisions that will be coming up, because what we said earlier on is how we're going to be so open as far as summer crops out of the field by November 1st. If it turns off wet at the end of October, and there's a decision to go, there's a lot of open ground that would have been typically still held to do double crop harvest that would have an option if they wanted to go back into wheat.
We might see historically high wheat acres if we get a lot of rain at the back end of this month.
Unfortunately, the wheat price isn't really supporting doing that, but neither is the corn price or any other prices, really. So
right now, I mean, things could change before May.
Yeah, and I mean, the biggest thing that a lot of people is we're burning through a lot of hay right now, and so kind of going back to that is that wheat. The value of wheat in the state of Oklahoma has always been that it provides a great forage. And then depending on how the spring does, we can determine if we just want to forage that out, if we want to actually pull a grain crop based on commodity price, based on how the wheat looks, and what we want to do with that piece of ground after wheat. We've taken potentially in some areas of the state, because some areas look pretty good.
Right.
I mean, we talk about the panhandle being so wet. I mean, good lush ground, even some of their native pasture looks pretty good. Yeah. So they're probably it's the abundance versus the not haves.
Yeah.
And so in these areas, we need to specify in these areas that have missed a lot of this rain and don't have pasture. Even was it 2 weeks ago we had a nice rain that pulled a lot of wheat up. Probably is not looking great at this point in time. And so the forage potential on that first half of the value that wheat brings to the system is diminishing by the day.
Yeah.
And so there probably are growers that are maybe looking for alternatives. And so we have some. I don't think it's time to shut the door on wheat quite yet. We still got a lot of time on wheat for a crop perspective. So it's not time to shut the door on wheat. We still got lots and lots of time. We have oilseed options if growers want to throw something in besides that. And we got a great forage option coming in the spring that can either be interseeded into a thinner stand of wheat or could be planted on their own. So we have a lot of options. We are not in a great spot right now. But
don't hit the panic button.
But we are I mean, Oklahoma's shouldn't just ever have a panic button. We just live in a constant. I mean, we would hit it too many times if we had a panic button. Yeah. So we have options, and it's looking down the road and looking at those options on what farm management and what you want to do with your farm, and there's some growers that might need to make some really tough decisions in the next couple of weeks to months, but there are options, and there is some flexibility for our growers. And I think that's the value of, while we live in a state that doesn't provide us with a ton of moisture, our temperatures and our openness that we can be does provide us a lot of flexibility to go alternate routes. So the more we kind of open our minds up to these alternate routes, the better off we're going to be. But it's not time to hit that panic button yet.
Well, the saying goes, dust it in, break the bin. So
we could, if you can get that ground open, we can sure enough dust it in right now.
Yeah.
We can't get a soil sample to save our life.
We weren't talking about a great fall last fall either.
Yeah.
I think we got one rain shower in the middle of October, and we got wet for like 2 weeks.
But
right.
The difference was south to west was really wet. So at least we looked at a lot of good grazing potential down there through that southwest corridor. And this year we just don't have the graze. What concerns me is where are the stalkers going to go?
Yeah, well, and those are those tough decisions that growers are going to need to make on what happens to those animals that are potentially going to need to be moved off.
Yeah.
And what are we going to do? And how much hay stalks can we burn through before we're comfortable just letting go of those animals? So it's a big question. I'm glad I don't have to make it, but it's some rough questions that we're going to have to answer here pretty quick. But the other side of the coin is we could just start getting wet and just stay wet for the rest of the winter. We really don't know, but still got a lot of positives. There's some positives coming out of the stuff that are being harvested. There's some decent yields for if you look at the context of what our summer was, the fact that we're harvesting as much as we're harvesting and having the yields that we are, considering the circumstances, is very positive. And it's not going to be one of those that growers are going to be able to, buy, a whole fleet of trucks with the yields they're coming out of. But hopefully it's enough to kick the can down the road, and that we didn't lose everything this summer because of the conditions that we had.
So as far as your summer crops that you've been working with, are you harvesting those? What kind of results are you seeing so far this early in the process?
Yeah, so our sorghum has been universally pretty good.
Yeah.
Like really good.
Really?
And there's been some growers that have said that this isn't their best year, but it's not far off.
Wow.
One of their best grain sorghum years they've ever had.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
I think in some areas the rain just came right when it needed to. We didn't get much, but what we did came at the right time, kind of hit right at the right amount, right time to kind of push that to the promised land. The corn, our corn prices, or our corn yields have been overall okay.
Yeah.
We talk about that corn stunt, our pathologists and entomologists are talking, and so our corn yields have been mixed as a whole, but I think given the circumstances, they've been pretty good. Brian was talking that some of our double crop, our later planted corn, might be the best corn we harvest for the year.
Wow.
But I think there's a big discrepancy in, like, really early planted corn did pretty good. April and May planted corn did really bad.
Yeah.
And then some of our June and July planted corn is going to do okay. So those still haven't come out of the field. I would say our bean yields have overall been kind of disappointing. But the fact that we're pulling anything off some of these fields is a positive.
Yeah.
Because given the environmental conditions, the 60 days with no rain, it would be expected that we would have hayed all of these beans and not really pulled anything off. So, the mid-teens, the mid-20s into the 30s is fairly disappointing given the price is so bad on beans right now.
Right.
But it's good that we're pulling enough off that hopefully we, even if we didn't break even, that we've got close enough to that value that we're not losing too much on those. So our hay that we've done this year, we've done some like sorghum Sudans and some forage sorghums, have been very positive. We've pulled a lot of tons of hay off on some of these annual hay crops. So maybe not our native pastures, or I don't know how your Bermuda did this year.
First cutting, massive.
Yeah.
We got a lot of spring hay. Second cutting wasn't bad.
Yeah.
There was no third cutting.
But like our June and July planted forage sorghum did really well. Its quality is not good though.
Right.
So we got a lot of tonnage, but our quality is down quite a bit.
Yeah.
So we have some hay that could potentially kick us down the road, but it's nothing that's going to be able to be utilized solely as a source to maintain gain on an animal, probably. So we would have liked to seen that be a little bit higher, but our tonnage is there. We just really didn't get the quality we've wanted on some of our stuff.
Well, and producers are already feeding hay, in middle October right now. So pasture quality is iffy as well.
Well, and we pulled off some decent hay in the spring, and so hopefully that's kind of carried us through for now.
Yeah,
but it's not going to carry us through all winter,
right?
So we're going to need to find alternatives here fairly soon.
That's amazing. So, just briefly, you're working on a project for your soybean research, and that's it's looking at different places across the state. You want to talk about it real quick?
Yeah. So soybean research is in the state of Oklahoma is kind of been funny the last couple of years because we are spread all around the state.
Right.
We're trying to touch home on several different areas to where we maybe don't have enough research going on in an individual station that we can say, hey, we're going to have a field day and we're going to bring everything to it, and really have a lot of things to showcase because we're trying to touch on so many different areas around the state that we decided that we were going to try to bring some positives on some of the ways we learned about engagement over those COVID times.
Yeah.
And while those COVID times were not great for getting extension and having a good time at extension tours, we know it's very challenging for growers to break away, whenever you have 8,000 other obligations in addition to the farm you're using as your income. We know it's hard to break away, to come to field day, to kind of like get updates.
Yeah.
So we wanted to kind of do these digital field days to where myself and Brian have gone through a couple of our research locations around the state. That way growers, one, can see the research that's kind of in their area, but they can also see what else is going on in the state that they might be able to call one of us or call their county extension and be like, hey, I want something like that around here as well.
Yeah.
And so we've done some videos with you, Dave.
Yeah.
Looking at, and the way we're doing this different than a video is they're being shot 360.
Yeah.
And so I was just looking at a couple of them.
Which is fun to watch, horrible to film.
Oh yeah, it's very interesting
the
to
most
film.
awkward thing I've ever done in my freaking life.
Yeah, because we've tried to treat it like the camera was individuals at the field day sitting on the tour.
Yeah.
It's all fine and dandy until the beans are 18 inches tall and I'm talking to a person that's knee-high to a grasshopper.
That was tough.
But hopefully what we've done is we've gotten a little bit of information for growers to see what's going on around the state, see some of the stuff that we're doing and get a good look at what we're doing. The other thing we did, Dave, is we did a life and times of a soybean plant throughout the season.
Yeah.
And we've had updates periodically throughout the year, but to where we've gone through and we've talked about what growth stage they're at and why it's at that growth stage, what management practices, when we're sitting at this growth stage, what management practices growers should be looking for and looking at, and kind of what's to come, what is our next stages, and in between these critical stages, what we continue to want to do for our management. And it allows growers that maybe want to see how soybeans are grown in different areas of the state, or maybe growers that aren't so familiar with soybeans to kind of see that plant as it grows and as it comes through and get a good look at it in the field. So for growers, it's maybe a good visualization of some of the things we've talked about on how to do management. But I would also encourage everybody that does grow soybeans to think of how valuable this is for people in the state and that don't grow soybean.
Yeah.
And this could be just other growers that maybe some panhandle growers are very interested in bringing soybeans, just kind of want to take a gander of how that plant looks as it's going. Maybe it's a high school class in Oklahoma City, and they want to bring into their classroom and teach those inner city urban kids, or even on the outskirts of an urban, maybe not our rural communities, because they can potentially go out to the fields and see it, but some of our non-rural communities and see what Oklahoma agriculture looks like. And I think that's so valuable to be able to provide our educators, maybe our county educators going into the youth, maybe our high school educators. It probably could be used in some of these classrooms around the ag hall too. So it is a kind of a thing for growers, but it was a really big thing to show soybean production in Oklahoma to individuals that aren't familiar with soybeans. So really trying to promote the crop and the value of the crop and kind of what the crop looks like to a state that is what most people, air quotes here, would consider a not traditional soybean state, and how those soybean plants grow and the challenges that growers deal with on a year in, year out basis out there. So it's been really fun to kind of take that step-by-step look, and then Dave has gotten weekly 360
That's
views
what I was going to say,
of the soybeans, so he's got a chance to just see the plants as they grow and see them develop and change, and the system change with this environment that we've had, and how things are coming around. So I think it's and that project's funded by the Oklahoma Soybean Board, and I really appreciate, because again, this is going to be a good promotional thing that we can kind of get out to non-farm entities to be able to teach them a little bit about Oklahoma agriculture. And I highly suggest or promote any of the other commodity boards wants to do this. We can do this and really show off the crop and the commodity, so we can get this into the hands of individuals that maybe they have a negative view of agriculture in Oklahoma, and this can show them that we're very meticulous in how we manage that crop and how we manage the field and value the productivity of that field. So
one of my favorite things about this is going out into the field at Perkins. Every Tuesday at noon, I would be out there and I would do the 360 camera, and it was fun to watch the progression of the plants and get the video of them, 5 minutes of them, so I could put them in a time lapse, and to go out there from one week to another and go, wow, they grew. It's kind of like having kids, because I've had people say, wow, Dave, your daughters are so much taller. Well, I'm around them every day.
Yeah.
But, I do catch it from time to time. I'm like, wow, Molly's that much taller now, and Savannah's that much taller. But it was really neat to go out to Perkins every week and do that. But one of my favorite 360s that we've done so far is you under the shades at Bixby, which I'm working on that video now, and it should be going live. But it's just so cool, because you are the camera is positioned under the shade, and you have a 75, a 50, and a 25% shade over it, and to be able to look under it and go, wow, it is a little bit darker under here. But then you look around at the plants, and you can see the difference between the shaded plant and the plant that has no shade, and equate that to the amount of sunlight that's getting there and how that's going to impact the plant. And like I say, those are being produced right now. But
and we got yield differences in that.
Did you really?
So that's the big thing.
Yeah.
Is that not only did we have the 25, 50, and 75% shade, but we had it at 3 different times during reproductive growth.
Yeah.
So we had it from flowering to pod development, from pod development to pod fill, and from pod fill to the end of the season. And not only is 75, 50, or a 25, 50, and 75 different, but when we have it out there is different. So we originally did this as a means to look at. Brian's not interested in any of this stuff. He just wants to know what the yields are at the end.
He's over there playing Tetris.
Not wrong.
But we did this because we've gotten so many questions on like smoke in the atmosphere and particulate matter in the atmosphere and how that's impacting our soybean. And if you would have asked me at the beginning, I would have said it doesn't.
Yeah.
But it does.
Wow.
And it does by several bushels. And to just get our best under shade yields, I think, were 26 bushel. Our best out of shade yields.
Wow.
So even just putting that 25% shade on it knocks 10 bushels off the top. Now, every change from there is a lot smaller.
Yeah.
But that transition from shade, like full sun to shade, a lot of people, whenever I talk to them about this, the soybeans will do better because it's cooler. And in some instances, I would have agreed with you, because I never thought we would be sunlight limited in the state of Oklahoma, because we have so much sunlight.
Yeah.
But we do have the potential to be.
Yeah.
So.
Ooh, another tour.
We got another tour.
Man, this is fun.
I don't know these people.
Brian, they probably went through your lab. It's okay.
Just trying to poke the bear.
Well, that's really cool, and of course, people, as the project goes along, they can go to what website? The answer is Red Dirt Agronomy,
there it is.
Red Dirt Soy soybean.com.
That's it.
And they can go there and check it out.
I like how he threw it to you, and you're like, I have no
idea. It's the one.
I know we talked about it, Dave, but I'm going to need that written down.
It's not that one.okstate.edu
that
I knew
true.
how to do.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the heartbeat. All these people.
This is fun. Man, I was going to say, I kind of don't feed the animals. Yes, please feed these animals.
Wait till we start flinging stuff at them.
Right.
I'm going to get out of here before that happens.
Well, and Brian, let's switch gears. One project that you have coming up is the Winter Crop School, and this year will be the first year. It's a big deal. This is the first year it's not in the ballroom because
after we got kicked out of the other building. Yeah, so excited to say that the OSU Winter CCA Crop School, December 17th and 18th, will be hosted in the New Ag Hall. We will be the first large event that's not alumni or student associated coming in right after classes end. So 2 days, starting on Tuesday the 17th at 10, running through about 5 o'clock on Wednesday. Still working. We hope to have dairy bar open. No promises, but there's discussion. We could have dairy bar. Setup is pretty similar to the past. We're going to be offering over 14 CEUs for CCAs. But this year we are also adding and able to have, we could have up to 5 IPM. So that would be certified applicator, private applicator license points, along with IPM for CCAs. And I'll throw this out now. We have less room than we did in the student union, so we are limiting to 160 individuals due to fire marshal restrictions. We also have the online options too. But really have 2 fun days of interesting talks. We always tell our speakers this is not high school level. You got to come in here with the approach that you're giving an upper level discussion. We really want to dig in and teach. And so our 7 sessions, one, we're going to have an IPM session with Dr. Galvin and Seresta, digging into the aspects and components of resistance. Not just, we have resistance, but how do we get resistance? What does resistance really mean? Then jumping into kind of an irrigation of soil water, where we have 2 guest speakers, Dr. Golson from Mississippi State and Dr. Kakal from Idaho State, formerly from Nebraska. A lot of soil moisture, so Drew with Mississippi has done a lot of soil moisture sensor testing one versus the other. And he's also going to talk about tillage and cover crops in a more humid environment. So a lot of what we've done is more dry environment, but we have movement east on the cover crop, and so more humid environment. And then Dr. Kakal will talk crop coefficients, which is really managing irrigation scheduling. We then move into a crop management discussion where Dr. Irby Brown will come in and talk corn and sorghum pest. We still have some movement. This isn't absolutely finalized, but probably have Brenna Cannon, who's one of OSU's PhD students right now, done really cool work on cotton and where is the cotton getting yield from. Yeah. So our cotton grows different than Oklahoma than elsewhere, and kind of breaking down the aspects of that. And then Josh Bashong will come in and talk, technologies and optimizing wheat yields. After that, the next day, so that wraps up our Tuesday. Wednesday, we kick right off with our IPM specialist. We'll have Dr. Ashley Ferris, Dr. Maida Dufek, and Dr. Wyandotte, all IPM specialists. Basically give us a history and current ongoings of corn stunt. So this is going to... Dr. Wyandotte, retired faculty from Plant Path in Ento, she's actually been working with the pathogen for many years, so she's going to kind of break down what is it. And so it's going to be a whole session just working and discussing corn stunt, what is it on the insect side and the disease side. After that, we jump into forages, where we rely heavily on our area specialists, both Brian Pugh and Mike Trammell, our Eastern crew. Pugh's done a lot of work with herbicide impregnated or herbicide treated fertilizer, and not just the how, but he's looked at rainfall, timing, rates, and really how does that work. And Mike comes from Noble and has been with OSU now for probably about 3 years, 3 years. His background is endophyte free or novel endophyte fescues. And so he's going to talk about some of the stuff he's done with that, but also what we find is interesting is that fescue has been moving west.
Yeah.
And so dig in the discussion of what does west of I-35 fescue look like, and how does the novel endophyte fescue play into that? I've got a section in there that I'm trying to decide what I'm going to talk about. Josh tells me it's P&K management. It might be a blend of things, but I was informed I'm doing forages.
It's not even my meeting, and I just told him what he's doing.
Somebody's got to direct me.
Oh man!
We also have a section that I've pushed heavily that I just call bad water, and it really hits on a lot of our water sources. So we can go high plains. As Ogallala drops and we have less water out there, the water quality also has potential to reduce. But if you go just north of Stillwater, we're irrigating with some less than good water.
Yeah.
And so we're having a whole section about that where we're going to have one of my PhDs talk about the mechanics of salt and high bicarbonates in the soil system. What's it really doing chemically and physically to the soil? Fun blast from the past, bringing in Dr. Kenton Martin, who is a OSU, KSU alum, and a guy that Josh and I work with sometimes way too much, it seems like.
I think he called while we were
I think he did too. So I've asked him to in this series talk about management strategies in saline soils, because he is in that region that has some saline seeps. And so how can you farm around that, farm with it? And then one of my postdocs, Dr. Radon Sherry, will talk IDC management, soybean, which is getting into now the high pH. So we have salt management and high pH management. And then we wrap up in a final session, and we have to throw Josh in somewhere, right? So we're making him talk nutrient management. He's got just released a really great fact sheet.
Just out.
Just out. We should plug the fact sheet. It's basically spring oat management, and so planting and fertility management under spring oats. Really, really good stuff. So have him talk that.
Oats are a thing in Oklahoma? I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's almost like we just talked about
I know, man. I feel like
you made me do a sun up.
That's what I was going to say.
In the middle of not even telling me we were doing one on spring oats. So.
Guess what?
And then in a conversation that's hitting heavier, Dr. Steve Phillips is going to discuss essential versus beneficial plant nutrients, both science and policy, because we've got a lot of policy requests to rebrand what we would call beneficial nutrient into an essential nutrient, because legislative and law-wise, that changes.
That's it.
And so we're going to dive into, and this has been a lot of happening in my world right now in this essential versus beneficial conversation. And so we're going to have Phillips do that, and then we have kind of a TBD open spot to fill in third for nutrient management. But that's really what we have going. Again, 2 days, 14 CEUs.
We've put out a thing, and if any educators are listening, we have some funds that we can help support some of our county educators coming to this meeting. We do have quite a bit of interest from our county educators.
So we do have two things. If you're not just extension educator, but I've always gone through with our JUCOs and our other colleges. So NOC, NEO, Muskogee, any of those that want to come down, we have registration waivers. For anybody that we
are able to help with.
Or that we see as in the education, extension and education. And we also have some resources to help with travel funding for this. Will be specifically more for the extension side, but the travel funding for these educators coming in to help cover some of the cost. And if it's an NOC or Muskogee or any of those others, NEO that want to join, we could look for resources for that. But we're trying to help cover the cost for our Oklahoma Cooperative Extension Service and our just educators broad.
Well, that's amazing.
And it's not on here, but we always have the fun poster session with the graduate students.
Yes.
So there's going to be a lot other things covered here, because there are going to be several Usually we get it around 10 to 15, sometimes
20.
Sometimes on the high end of graduate students that come and talk about their research.
Yep.
And we kind of really promote them to talk where they have just come off our national meeting to where they talk to peers and scientists at a very scientific high level, or we're trying to teach them to talk at a more and more high level. We tell them now we need to think less about the science and more about the application of your results. So
and judges are from the audience.
Yes.
We pull. Dave, you've been a judge. I mean,
felt so intimidated doing it too. I'm thinking
you intimidated them.
Did I really?
Absolutely.
Well, maybe not in that shirt there, but
if you only saw the
Hawaiian shirts, or
I mean, it's 97 degrees on Saturday. You might as well keep wearing them.
Yeah.
Well, and that is a really cool opportunity because. Like I say, I walked up and was very intimidated by asking these graduate students questions about the research, but walking away, oh my gosh, I learned so much just having that 5-minute conversation about the research. And as much as anything, it's exciting because you're thinking that's the future of the sciences that are being taught here at OSU.
Well,
it's a fun thing of extension leading these meetings because we can force our research people to do extension.
Well, and the other thing is you don't understand the value we get by forcing our students to interact with practitioners in the field. The folks that they think, oh, well, I'm going to school, so I know so much more. And it's like, no, these people probably know a lot more about agriculture than you do. Yeah. So it's that thing of forcing our students to interact with practitioners that have a lot, from several to decades worth of field experience or experience in Oklahoma, and the value our students get from that is exponential. So, even if you're intimidated to judge, you don't want to judge, come and talk to the students.
It's worth it.
Because they they really enjoy talking about their research. Sometimes not as much in this format, but they need to. But they really enjoy showing off what they've worked so hard in the last several years doing.
Well, and folks are able to go to wintercropschool.com, and they're able to watch past presentations. And we also have a place on there for sign up for this year's conference as well. So that's going to be really cool. Winter Crop School.
No S. School.
Yeah. And so check that out.
I'm glad that Agnow Media finally got it figured out how to say the website.
wintercropschool.com. There we go. Yeah. Winter Crops School. I don't.
Maybe there'll
want
be
more information. Go check out wintercropschool.com.
Maybe there'll be a link in the description to this.
Go to
it's much easier to do it that route.
RedDirtAgronomy.com and find the links to this information.
There's too many ways that you guys have said the same website here today.
Well, this has been a lot of fun. Just kind of getting caught up doing having a breakout session just for the three of us to kind of recap everything that's going on. And now next week or next episode, we have Dr. Andrew Foote coming up. So that's going to be really cool. He's with Animal Science.
He's animal scientist. Yeah.
So
he's a true blue researcher, unlike us extension pogues. I would say though that we're also probably going to be pushing out a couple of the former Winter Crop School presentations in short form as a podcast. Right
there, you go. Yep. So we'll do that coming up in a few weeks here. So check it out. Thanks for going on, guys. This has been fun getting everything cleaned out.
Always fun.
Pray for rain and don't complain about the mud.
Thank you for listening in on this conversation of the Red Dirt Agronomy Podcast. And if you'd like to join the next discussion, send us an email, podcast@reddirtagronomy.com, or send us a tweet. Our handle is reddirtag. If you get a chance, visit our website, reddirtagronomy.com, to find out more information about our guests and any of the resources that we discussed on this podcast here today. For Dr. Josh Lofton and Dr. Brian Arnall, I am Dave Deacon.
and we all want to sincerely thank you for listening. The proceeding is a copyrighted recording of Ag Now Media, LLC, 2024. And yes, all rights are reserved.